Hi, I'm Bob Trask. This is our weekly reset, and today we're going to talk about rising from the past. And the question that I have for you is, will we die? Will we? Are you going to die? I can prove to you that you do not die. That we don't die. I can prove it to you. We don't die. Boy, there's just lots and lots of people who went through what are called near-death experiences. But did they die? Well, their bodies shut down. Their brains shut down. Their heart stopped beating for a long time. I used to be in the emergency medical business, and what we knew is that if a person stopped breathing for 4 minutes, that's 4 minutes without oxygen to the brain. You can bring them back then if you can get that CPR going, if you can get them back right then. But if you wait a while, like to 6 minutes, then they become brain dead. Then you might even be able to bring them back physically, but the brain is dead. So there have been people who have been dead for hours and still recovered. And when they came back, they said, I was on the other side. I can tell you what's over there. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But you and I don't live in in an attitude, in a world attitude that says we are eternal beings. Everything is shut off, like we're going to come to the end and everything is going to stop and it's going to be over. That's such nonsense. Nothing ends. Every time something ends, that's the beginning. Nothing ends. And you can't end. So, will our journey here be an amazing adventure? Or will it just be a game? Because a lot of people, I mean, I don't want to be nasty about this, but let's face it, and I don't think that's you, but a lot of people are just watching life like they're watching a movie. They're just watching it go by. It's very thin. I can tell you that I've lived a long, long time. I have, and I've seen a lot. I've been lost. I've been lost in the jungles of Borneo. I've been lost at sea. I've been lost in mountain wilderness. And I've been lost in my soul, lost in my heart, lost in my mind. I have been totally lost. And I've learned over the years how to venture into that unknown, into the jungles of your mind, into the farthest reaches of your imagination, and always be at home. I've learned that tomorrow doesn't have to be the past. Tomorrow can be fresh, can be new. I've learned that nothing ever came together. We don't want things to come together. I learned that nothing ever comes together until I come together. And today, I'm talking to you about how to rise from your programming, from the habit of thinking in the past. I know you want satisfaction and joy and well being in your life, and today I'm going to guide you there if you'll follow me. The title of this talk is Rising from the Past. Just stick with me, and you'll find a brand new way of seeing yourself in your adventure and seeing yourself in your future. Our past experiences are addictive, aren't they? I don't know if you've ever suffered from a real chemical addiction, but I can tell you that our pasts are addictive and they're chemical. That's chemicals going on in our minds and in our brains. Those are neurotransmitters and all kinds of other things that are coming out of our brain and flooding through our bodies and making our bodies be a certain way, making our synaptic uh, connections, those little synapses act a certain way. And all of that has to do with our attitudes. We inherit tons and tons of stuff from our ancestors, but a lot of them, pardon my saying so, dear grandfather, were knuckle draggers. They lived in caves. They they had very primitive ideas about reality. We don't have to carry those forward, even though we've inherited those. We have to step forward and become awake. Awake. And live this life as the adventure it is, not sitting in the bleachers with a blanket around us, drinking hot toddy and watching the players down on the field. Take off the blanket and get down on the field. Get your butt kicked. Get hurt. Find true joy, the immensity of life. Don't be afraid of getting into it. Get into it all the way. You're going to survive. Yeah, I promise you, you're going to get hurt. I promise you, you're going to get betrayed and disappointed. And you're going to, those things are going to go on. And you'll not only survive, you'll become stronger by it. But you can't do that if you're dragging the past with you, because the past, see, in the past, if I told you, write down 100 memories from the past, a lot of those, maybe the majority of those for the average person, would be negative. Oh, you got hurt, how you lost, how someone that you loved went away or died, of this disappointment, of the failures, of the mistakes that you made that cost people their money or their lives or whatever. I've been there. I know what that's like. Those those are dominant in your past. If we could only just remember the times we won. Oh, the times we won, the times you won. I got to tell you, if I knew how many times you have awakened in the night and stared into the darkness of the ceiling and felt the fear, the panicky, deep, terrifying fear of being temporary, of knowing that you're going to die, of knowing that you're going to go away, just disappear, and that all that you treasure is going to be gone. I know that. I know how that feels. I know how it feels to have people on your team and to love them and be deeply involved with them and having giving them your heart and then having them betray you and throw you under a bus and throw you out through deceptions, stories that they tell about you that aren't true. I know how that feels. I know the heartbreak of that. But should that define my life? Should those define your life? Should those decide your future? But we go forward hesitantly, don't we? We're hesitant to make that friend. We're hesitant to get into that because who knows, it might fall apart. It might, because so what we're doing then is we're coming into the future limping. We're coming in because we're still carrying the injuries from the past. We can't be fully here. Like like I was watching a Mariners baseball game the other night, and their lead pitcher, the number one main guy, pitched like a few pitches, and then he just walked off the field. And they sent another pitcher on. He was hurt. He said his forearm was injured. He's going to miss 3 games. He didn't. He wouldn't go into the game and play his full heart out on that game for us to win with an injury. We can't come onto the field with our old injuries. We can't. We have to rise from the past. We have to let the past go. Let it be an education. Let it make it stronger. I overcame this, therefore I became stronger. I forgave, therefore I became stronger in my emotional, in my spiritual, and even in my physical body. I became stronger. You've got to rise from the past. And those opinions, those memories, those beliefs, let's not let them define us, because they do that. They do that. We live in this glass enclosed shell, and the glass, incidentally, is made of a substance called ego. And we live inside of that. And inside of it, all there are is memories and opinions and beliefs. That's all there is there. And we believe that's who we are inside of that ego. But we're not. We're consciousness. We're consciousness. We're outside of that. You're not your body. You're not your mind. You're not your brain. You're not your feelings. You're not your past. All those experiences and all of that wealth of adventure was meant to expand you spiritually, but can't be contained then within inside that jar. It's got to be part of your consciousness. You've got to rise above that ego and let yourself be pure consciousness. Can you do that? Can you just be consciousness? Not your brain, not your mind, not your thoughts, not your memories, not your opinions, not your beliefs, not your religion, your political party, your the family you came from, your last name. None of those matter. What matters is that you are consciousness having this earthly experience, that you may grow in wisdom and joy. Question: am I growing in wisdom and joy? Are you? Are you growing in wisdom and joy? Are we? If we're not, then we're missing the boat. Because when that thing happened in the past, it was there to increase my ability to be real, to be in wisdom and joy. If we don't act outside of that cocoon of memories and beliefs, if we don't act outside of that ego shell, then it's dangerous because we're losing the life we have. We're losing the life we're here to live. Because the question is, if we just were outside of that box, who would we be? Question for you. If you're not your memories and you're not your beliefs and you're not, if you don't let those define you, if you don't let all your memories and beliefs define who you are, then the question is, then who are you? Then who are you? Because those memories and beliefs, they're going to be gone when you die. Boom, gone. They're going to be gone. And all of your opinions, gone. Political party, religion, gone. Gender, gone. Last name, front name, gone. Gone. But what's there is who you really are right now, in this consciousness, who you really are. You are today. You're not that after you die. You are that now. You are that consciousness now. You're real. You're powerful. You're passionate. You're on purpose in this life. There's never been, never will be another you created ever in all of history. You're the only one. And you're here to live fully, to be in the game. And we can't come in the game dragging the past behind us. We can't do that. So there's a problem here. Our pasts have hired this caretaker, this glass jar to watch over us, and we have to be able to rise above that. Because that keeps telling us, no, no, I'll do your thinking for you. No, 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 I'll have your opinions and your beliefs, and you can just depend on me. Then what? No new flowers in my garden, in the garden of my heart? No new music in my heart? No new recipes for me to try out? How about that strange looking fruit in the grocery store I saw? Looked really interesting, I know, but I don't know about that, so maybe I better not take a chance. And I'd love to write a book because I have so much to say, but I'm not a writer. I can't do that. Can I learn a new instrument? Can I? Can I join a chorus? Can I travel to a distant land? Can I learn a new language? Can I? Can I? How will I feel if I do? Well, I'll be new. I'll be constantly becoming new. If I rise from the past, I stop being my old self. I am constantly becoming new. My friend, that's the risk I'm asking you to take. To come out into the light we've never seen before. To discover a new and amazing and ever-changing reality that'll make us laugh, enjoy. But to get there, we must be willing to accept the help of those who have come out of that darkness to help us. Here's the story. There's a man named Frank, and Frank's walking down the street one day, and he's not paying too much attention, and he falls into a hole, and he didn't see that, but he's just there. He is, didn't pay attention. Boom, he's in this hole, and it's a deep hole. It's like 25 or 30 feet deep, and its sides are smooth and flat, and there are no handholds or footholds, and there's no way to get out. Whoa, Frank knows he's in trouble. He knows he needs help. So he starts yelling up from top to the top of the hole, help, somebody help me. And and then he notices a person comes along and looks down and says, how long have you been down here? And then the guy walks on. And then he notices that there's someone else in the hole behind me. This guy's over there in the darkness. And he says, that guy talking to you, how long have you been down here? The guy says, forever, I think. Have you tried to get out? There's no way out, says this guy. There's no way out. No, says Frank, there's got to be a way out. This is not life. There's light and adventure up there. I got to get out of here. You're dreaming, says this guy. I believed that for a long time. I don't believe that anymore. You know, I think, my friend, that you and I are like Frank's cellmate. Maybe we've been living in the darkness of our history, of our past for so long that we've forgotten there's such a thing as living free, as living free. But Frank isn't making this hole his home. He's yelling for help. And he keeps yelling for help. And he keeps getting disappointed. A lot of people come by and look down on him. One woman says to him, hey, you down there, I've got problems. You've got problems. We've all got problems. Just live with it. And she goes on. But Frank won't give up. He keeps yelling and yelling for anyone to help him. And finally, a priest or a minister looks down and says, well, what are you doing down there? And he says, I fell in, and there's two of us down here, and we need help to get out. And the priest says, well, okay. And he drops something. There you go, son. That'll save you both. And then he goes on. Frank picks this thing up and looks at it, and it's a Bible. It's a Bible. Too dark to even read. It's too dark to read or to comprehend what that might say. He looks up just as the next person peers over the edge and says, I'm a doctor. Do you need anything? Yes, please, please help us get out of here. Well, says the doctor, checking his watch, you got an appointment? Because you have to have an appointment. And he says, I don't have no appointment, screams Frank. I've got a stupid problem of being in this hole, and I need to get out of here. Okay, says the doctor, and he drops him a package of Band-Aids and goes on. This is the way he's getting help. But Frank doesn't give up. And he's exhausted. It's been a long time, and his companion just sits quietly by the wall and watches. Occasionally, he tells Frank that his efforts are futile. But Frank is determined, and he won't give up. He knows he doesn't belong in this hole. He simply won't give up, for the human soul is virtually indestructible, says author Alice Miller. The human soul is virtually indestructible. Can you hear that? Says author Alice Miller. She says it's the ability to rise from the ashes that remains as long as the body draws breath. Its ability is to rise from the ashes as long as the body draws breath. So here's Frank in this hole representing you and me and all of us who think that this is all there is to life. Finally, after he feels he's been in the dark forever and ever and ever, he looks up and sees an older woman peering down at him. Hey, down there, she says, you want to live like that? Hell no, says Frank. I hate it, but I need the help getting out. Okay, then, she says. I guess you're ready. And without another word, she leaps down into the hole. And now she's standing right beside Frank and she's smiling. And Frank shakes his head and says, what in the world is wrong with you? Now there's 3 of us down here in this hole. Oh, yeah, she nods. Sure there are. But you know what? I've been down here in this hole before, and I know how to get out. I've been here before, and I know how to get out. But you know what? The other person in that hole refuses her help. You're batty, he tells her. This hole may be dark, but it's safe. And there's no chance of something bad happening to me here. And so I'm staying in this hole. And to this day, that person's probably still living down there in that safe and comfortable darkness. Now, my question is, do we have dreams of a reality that we've not been willing to make real? Do we have dreams that we've not gone after? Because those dreams are the urgency of the eternal mind pulling us forward into becoming who we are here to become. Do we have dreams that we've not dared to follow? Then what are we doing? Are we sitting in the hole of fear and self-doubt and not seeing a greater truth? That we are magic, that you are magic, that you are a miracle worker. Maybe you haven't realized that yet, but by golly, it's true. And that you must always be moving toward greater and greater and greater light. And if you do, then the miracles will happen and the magic in your life will happen. So what are we willing to do today to have our dreams come true? What are we willing to do today? There's someone to help you. If you can believe that and reach out and keep reaching out, that someone is there. Someone who's been there before will help you. The problem is that some of us have been in the hole so longer that we no longer know there's another reality. And we think that's all there is. And it's like that great song, Is That All There Is? Oh, come on, Bob. Peggy Lee sang that song. Is that all there is? And that carries the viewpoint that life is just shallow, that it doesn't have all that much meaning. The song tells us about your house burning down and going to a circus and losing your life and seeing no deep meaning in any of that. And at the moment of death, looking back and just saying, is that all there is? C.S. Lewis said, there are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind. The real question is this: do we want our lives to be clear, flowing streams of light? Or do we want to live in semi-light or even darkness? Or have we been in that semi-light so long we no longer believe in lives that are clear, flowing streams of light? When we change our lives in any way, something has to die. That guy that's still down in that hole in the darkness, he'd have to leave the darkness. He'd have to leave that comfort in order to get into the light. Something has to die, and we have to let it die in order to go forward. What is it you'll have to let die? What is it that you'll have to let die? What attitude? What belief? What thought about yourself that's limited? Nicole Soban said, sometimes the hardest part isn't letting go, but rather learning to start over. So my work in the world is to be that older lady looking down in the hole and saying, are you really ready to get out? Are you really ready? Because if you're really ready, then you need to be showing up for these weekly resets. And you need to be looking for people like me, because I'm not the only one, who've been down in that darkness and who know how to get out. And I can help you get out. And there are others who can help you get out. There are good therapists, good counselors. But a lot of us say, well, I wouldn't go to a therapist because if I go to a therapist, that means that there's something wrong with me. You go to a therapist because there's something right with you. And that therapist helps you pull that rightness out. There are great therapists. There are other great leaders. There are other great spiritual masters. We have to be able to not pay attention to those who drop band-aids or Bibles on us, and pay attention to those who've been in the dark and who know what the light is. We are on an adventure here. We are like walking through the forest, and around every turn, there's a new adventure. Oh, look over there. Oh my God, look at that waterfall. Oh my God, it's going into that beautiful, deep, beautiful pool. Dare I take off my clothes and jump into that pool for a few minutes and just feel the freshness and the icy coldness of that water? And do I dare do that? And do I dare climb up that hill? And do I dare go out into that meadow that's just right there? And do I dare go farther? And do I dare camp on this mountaintop tonight and watch the stars below me and around me? Do I dare? Do I dare fall in love? Do I dare open my heart to somebody? Do I dare? Do I dare? I'm going to start a class in a couple of weeks on this book, Consciousness is All There Is. Consciousness is All There Is by Tony Nader. And what I'm doing in that class, and if you're interested, get in touch. Go to bobtrask.com and look, and you'll find the website there. Will tell you where the class is. But I'm saying to you is that consciousness is all there is. There isn't anything else. Let's stop sitting in our seats watching the movie and let's get in the movie. Let's get down on the playing field. Let's be consciousness. Let's stop being our memories. Let's stop being our opinions and our beliefs. Let's stop being that name that we have that we write as when we sign our name to something. Let's stop being that. Let's be consciousness. Because consciousness is all there is, and your past is past. Einstein reminded us that life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. So let's keep moving with joy, with grace, and with trust and faith that we are being surrounded and filled and protected by a greater mind than anyone can imagine. And it shows up every day in nature around us, in all of the parts of nature: people, animals, plants, trees, skies, clouds, eagles, fish, great whales. It's all around us. And it's all being empowered by the great consciousness of nature, of which you are a part. And you are loved and blessed, and you are safe and free. Now, if you don't mind, stop by bobtrask.com and go to donations and leave a donation so that I can continue to expand my work in the world. Thank you. and I will see you right here